Okay, sorry I didn't restart recording this sooner, but I wanted to test the first one out to see what's going on here. And so what I did was I stuffed these, there's a couple oil holes over there that I stuffed just so the retainers don't pop in there, just in case, you know, better safe than sorry. And I'm going to work on this one next, so I'm going to stuff a little bit one in there, I don't know. And I got a magnet which broke on me, but bent, I don't know what the heck. So it turns out though that the exhaust on this particular vehicle, it's 89 4.3 TBI Z, doesn't have any kind of like seal on it. Or there is, but it's not, I don't know, it looks like the ones that I got or the ones I have are umbrella seals. Let me show you here. And they're just, I don't think these are going to be very good. But it doesn't look like there's anything on the exhaust anyway. And I could be completely wrong, and you know, but this will take me a little while to do. I think this is going to take me longer than I thought. You can see I cleaned these two up a little bit, a little nick there, but oiled them up. And then here's the intake, which I pulled that one off. You can see it right here. And it really doesn't look bad, but there is it's a little warped here, you can see. And these are definitely wider than the other ones, unless they're stretched out or something, but I think that's part of it. They're probably stretched out. I mean, they're still a little rubbery. It's not bad. I have a feeling when I take my driver's side manifold, or the valve cover off, I mean on the passenger side, is where I'm going to find the bad one. So some of these might be worse than others. We will see. But so I'm just basically, I'm gonna leave these exhaust ones put for now. I'm gonna do these two intake ones. And so when I get done, I'll kind of do some more research and see what people suggest or what's going on really with this exhaust. Because according to the book, which I didn't know right away before I bought these, but it's just an O-ring. There's like no umbrella seal. So, you know, also these umbrella seals, I don't know if they're the manufacturer ones. Should probably are. I doubt anybody would have been in here before me with the mileage on it and seeing who I got it from, but yeah, so it's kind of a pain. Here's the biggest pain though, and it's kind of hard to do while I'm holding the camera unless I set it up, is this valve spring right here. I rented it from O'Reilly. Look how like loose this is here. And you do want it loose because you want it to be able to slightly turn, you know, as you screw down. But it's like super, sometimes it goes like it goes all like this or that, and then it slips out of place. Once it slips out of place, you run the risk of this thing popping off, and it almost tried to kill me like 3 times last night, so I had to take a break. This is the next day, by the way. So what I've been doing is putting a zip tie around here once I get it on and tightening it down slightly, because if it does pop off the spring, I can prevent it from flying everything off and the retainers go flying and keepers and everything. So, but it's a real pain. Now the other thing is I stuffed this rope in here, and I stuffed a good like 3 feet, 4 feet maybe even into here. Oh, it's not that tight. I thought I got it tight in there. Maybe it is. No, I got it tight in there. I'm gonna make sure it's tight in there. So when you press down on these, they're not going to go all the way down. Now, that's the other thing is, so what I did was, I cranked this to the left, counterclockwise, until I knew I had enough room, so I think it was like bottom dead center or whatever they call it. And then I stuffed this in, and if you only stuff in like a foot, you know that's how I learned. I knew that I did not have that low enough, because I have a really hard time gauging that. I'm not sure exactly how. So like I said, this is by no means how to, but this is kind of more what I'm doing, and when I post it, hopefully someone will tell me, hey, you did this wrong. That's why I'm kind of asking as I go. But that's how I learned is... So then I got like about 4 feet in here, and I figured that was good. And then once you start cranking clockwise, you can hear it, and then you can just feel it, like just all of a sudden it stops, because it's got to be against there. And then you kind of want to tug on this a little bit. If you can't pull it, that's probably a good sign. But I did notice when I was putting this one on, this one was a little easier. This one was a little more difficult because the stem itself had probably a 1/4 inch to a half, almost, well, I wouldn't say ½ inch, but it had enough play up and down that it was really hard, because when you compress the spring, you can push the spring down further. But so yeah, basically it was really hard, and I was really pushing and then wiggling around, and I was trying to be careful, but yet you got to be a little rough to get those on there. So hopefully I'm doing it all right. And yeah, so I'm going to put that spring on there, and while I do it, it's like I don't really want to tape it, because I feel like I'm gonna put that on there and I have to hold it down so it doesn't pop off accidentally or whatever, and take things with it, so I don't really want to be taping while I do it. But I'll probably tape a little bit, and I'll show you when I pull it off and stuff like that. Okay, so this is kind of what I did. As you can see, there's not a lot of room, there's not a lot of springs on this. They're thick, and you've got like 1 or 2 that you can grab onto, really, and I think it's really only one that you're going to be able to grab onto. I tried the first one, but we'll see. And then I put the zip tie on there just because when I start pushing on this, when I start screwing this down, it's possible those could go flying off. So, or this could come loose, or one of the sides could pop off, and then at least I can hang on to it while I fix it, so nothing flies off. So I'm going to try to screw this in, and then hopefully the keepers will kind of loosen up and I can see them start to pop down and I can pull them out. The thing I forgot to mention is, before you even put the valve spring compressor on there, you want to take a socket, is probably the best way I found. And this is a 24, which I thought works pretty good. And then you just smack it with a hammer a couple times, and I don't know, I could kind of tell, like when I first did it, I did it before I put that on there, but then when I was putting the compressor spring down, I compressed the spring, and then the valve, there's a little bit of play in the valve, and it didn't want to loosen up from the keeper. So I'm going to do that again, just smack it a little harder this time and see if it kind of loosens. Got to kind of loosen those keepers, I guess, around that retainer. So I got this off, and you want to make sure that this kind of stays on when you pull it off with everything. And so you have this retainer piece here, and then you have, and I've been cleaning those off, and then this, and this looks, these look good, so you can clean those off. And then this is the spring. So you just want to make sure I guess, yeah, you don't want to flip these around. So I'm going to clean these while we put it back together, so I don't make sure I do anything with it. And then over here you got these keepers, and the way the keepers go in is there's a little bit of a, you could see like a little bit of a higher end over here, or a little thicker on top. Well, you see if you do them. And then it's a little bit thinner on the bottom, and the thin parts go on the bottom. But those can be a pain. More pain than I thought. So Now you have, here's the seal itself here. And this thing, it's gonna be a pain to get off. So you gotta get under there with like, I just use some, I just use this. Here, let's try to get this off here. Well, I mean, you just gotta pry that off. And I'll show you. It's on there pretty tight. Oh, you gotta get this, there's this O-ring on here. And mine kind of broke. Oh, see, you can see the play here. Which, I guess, that's alright if you have that much play. Because I seem to get the other one off, it was the same. It's a little bit difficult. I'm sure if you have compressed air, it's a little bit easier. You don't have as much play like that, or at all, you shouldn't have any play. So it's probably easier. But in the other sense, if you did happen to lose air or even a little bit of pressure, or you accidentally hit too hard on that stem valve, it could fall in. So it's the last thing you want. So I think the rope method is pretty good. So I took this one off, and look, this one looks much worse compared to the other one. I mean, it's just like more burnt and stuff, and the top is like pieces are coming off or something. You could see. And it was a lot easier to get off too. So, what are you doing? And so I cleaned this up, and I'm gonna put some, I got some oil here. Oh, it's almost gone. But I put some good oil in there. And then here's, it comes with these, like this little thing, but it's like this, like, I don't know, I'm not gonna use it. For what? So, but this is definitely a tight fit. So I gotta oil this up, all these parts, and then oil up my valve stem a little bit. I cleaned the valve stem off, and I'll show you that. And then I'm going to, I got it cleaned up real good, and inside there, get all the grime off there, all the carbon and everything, or whatever, burnt crap that's on there. And then I used a little socket. I used, this one seemed to work, this deep socket, it's a 13, seemed to work the best to just kind of bang it on there real slow, and you can see when it seats in place. And then I'm going to put the little, I got the O-rings here, I'll put that on. And the O-ring on that one just kind of like broke off, mine. So you really got to make sure, and I got pieces out, you got to make sure that you don't lose those, because they're like hard plastic pieces, so you don't really want to lose those anywhere. And these O-rings are, I don't even know if the O-rings do much of anything. I'm sure this is the important part, so. Okay, so it is now day 2, and I'm back at this. I just took my rental valve spring compressor, the one that was crap, and I would not recommend that one. If you ever see it, the one that I was using, don't rent it, don't buy it. I mean, I don't know if it was just worn or whatever, but I just don't think it's worth it. So I brought it back and I told them my problems. And then I just bought this one. It's 20 bucks. But this one looks a little better. And you can see that there is a little spring right here. So in the middle there, in between. And I think that'll kind of keep this from popping out. It'll kind of hold it down, which is my problem. And this one turns, and this one just looks just better in general. So we'll try this one out. Hopefully that works. I know there's some other things that you can use, but I couldn't find anything. I suppose I have to order it online, I think, but I just probably paid too much for this. I have seen it in other stores for 30, so I got it at 20 at O'Reilly. And I probably shouldn't even buy this stuff, but I was just getting really fed up. So I'm going to try that out.